And I'm not going to go on a kind of long gold diatribe, but I do think that gold has historically played a very interesting part in an inflationary environment and as a protection of capital and kind of an anti-bubble, so to speak. And with bonds, as you said, losing their power to be able to be that portfolio diversification, I think gold would have done a better job of that had crypto not kind of rushed in and crashed the party over the last 6 to 9 months. What we've seen in the crypto volatility over the last few weeks, I think perhaps has people, because the crypto narrative used to be the operating system and the transactions, but really that narrative has evolved to one which is more about protection from fiat debasement. That's gold's story. That they're the OG in that space, right? So I think you've got a lot of people who have now been looking at crypto and maybe invested in crypto under the idea that that's how they wanted to express it, that may look at the volatility of that and say, well, maybe I should put some gold in there too. Maybe the thing that has historically played that role for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years, maybe I should trust some of that. And you can do it in conjunction with crypto. And, it might be this new brave new world, but just in case it's not, you might want to have the thing that's reliably done that for, a few millennia.
As Taleb would say, the Lindy effect is in favor of gold, quite strongly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that in terms of, when I came into the business in the 90s, gold stocks had huge multiple premiums to the market. They were trading at 14 to 18 times cash flow. They were trading 2.5 or 3 times book value. And it was because they carried that optionality of protection from inflation, which is a much more recent memory for people, back in the 90s. Now you've got, I think, probably the best case for emerging inflation that you've had in 25 or 30 years. And yet gold equities are as cheaply valued as I have ever seen them. The compression of valuation has been extraordinary. And it used to be, it's like, gold is not, all these companies, they just throw away money. It's the best free cash generating sector in the entire market. At the same time, it's also the cheapest. So in terms of if there has ever been a wildly asymmetric way to play a higher gold price via gold equities, it is today. So from that standpoint, it's like having these massive, long duration, low theta kind of options on the gold price, many of which are actually paying dividends now. So you got like a 3 or 5% positive carry on this massive long life anti-bubble call. To me, that's just an enormously compelling story.
What is the free cash flow to market cap yield right now in the gold equities?
It's across the entire industry. It's about 6%.
Oh wow!
If you look at specific companies, look, I got gold companies with 15 or 18% free cash flow. It's absurd.
Crazy,
they're paying,
that's crazy.
5 or 6% dividends, and they've got the ability to do 5 to 10% special dividends on top of that. The industry as a whole, there are people still building mines. So some of these guys are still cash flow negative. But there are some companies that have built wonderful assets countercyclically that have, a dozen, 15 years of inventory to be able to work through, and maybe even some additional projects to tack on that they can pay for with some portion of that free cash flow while they're paying you out these great dividends. To me, I think we will look, and what that does, gold typically, that part of the portfolio acts a little countercyclically to the energy and EV metals, as well as traditional energy, as well as the shipping stocks. So really in the attempt to build the most kind of robust and resilient portfolio of resource assets, that's the way I think of trying to group these asset classes together, these subsegments together.